And we'll take a few moments to calm your mind and body. Soften your face, your neck, and shoulders. Do your best to fully let go. And turn your attention to the breath, the calming breath, the soothing breath. Take long, slow breaths, full and deep. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I'm at peace.
What did Jesus say? That's right. I am the light of the world.
Good morning, everyone. In collective worship this week, we're learning about fair trade. And now I know that fair trade means...
There's a lot of talk about sustainability at the moment, but what does it all mean? And how does fair trade fit in? Well, sustainability is about more than the environment, in the same way that fair trade is about more than just fair prices. They're both about people, and meeting their needs today without compromising the needs of people in the future. To do this, our economies, societies, and the environment all need to be sustainable. And you can't tackle any of these on their own, as they're closely interconnected. So, for fair trade, sustainability is about working on all of them. Whether it's fighting for a living wage for workers, training farmers to be more resilient to climate change, or enabling communities to invest in education, fair trade empowers farmers and workers to face a range of economic, environmental, and social challenges. It's also about supporting and challenging businesses and governments to make trade fairer, and inspiring shoppers to think a bit more about what they buy. These are all foundations of sustainability. Let's give you an example. This is Teresa, a fair trade coffee farmer in Nicaragua. She wants the same things from work that you do: security, equality, and a decent income so she can build a stronger future for her family. But this isn't always easy. Farmers face all sorts of challenges and often don't have resources or the support to tackle them. So, how does fair trade make a difference? Well, Teresa's a member of a fair trade certified cooperative, an organised group of farmers who support each other, sharing knowledge about how to grow and sell coffee. This gives Teresa security, as she can sell better quality beans and earn at least the fair trade minimum price to cover the cost of producing them. She's also learning how to look after and adapt to the changing environment, which makes her livelihood more stable and her farm more environmentally friendly. Teresa's cooperative want women and men to gain equally from farming, so they've used the Fair Trade Premium, the extra money they get to spend on business or community projects, to support women like Teresa to market their coffee and gain more independence. Teresa also used a small loan scheme funded by the Premium to buy more land, which has allowed her to increase her productivity and income and make her a more reliable supplier. These economic, environmental, and social impacts contribute to a more secure, equal, and sustainable future for Teresa, her family, and her community. And it goes wider than that. Fair Trade works with over 1 million other farmers like Teresa every year. Fair Trade also supports hundreds of thousands of workers on large plantations to improve their working conditions, their standard of living, and their confidence by making sure they're treated properly. They also get the premium to invest in building a better life for themselves and their communities. So, whether you're a business managing your supply chain or a shopper deciding what goes in your basket, choosing fair trade contributes to a more sustainable world for us all. So there you have it. That's why fair trade means sustainable trade.
Yeah, I knew that. Let's unwrap the story of the chocolate bar. Unwrap, because it's sweet too.
Chocolate. We love it. It's one of the world's most popular treats. In the UK alone, we each eat an average of around 3 bars a week. But you don't have to look too far before you find the chocolate industry itself is far from sweet. Many farmers who grow the cocoa for our treats are underpaid and exploited. That means they can't earn enough for the basic human rights many of us take for granted, including food, education, and housing. So how can we stop chocolate from leaving a bitter aftertaste? Let's find out. Chocolate's history dates back well over 2,000 years to Mexico, but most is now grown in West Africa. 60% of the world's cocoa comes from Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. The main ingredient of chocolate, cocoa, grows on trees in pods. It takes a cocoa tree 5 years to grow pods, which are cut down with sharp knives and cracked open. Each pod has 20 to 60 seeds covered in a white pulp. The pulp is laid under banana leaves or in wooden crates and turned occasionally over 5 to 7 days. The pulp ferments to leave sticky cocoa beans, which are laid out in the sun to dry. Growing cocoa is hard work and relies heavily on the weather. With changing weather patterns, cocoa farmers face more uncertainty as crops are more at risk of rain damage or disease. Ebrotier has been farming cocoa for over 25 years and knows how difficult it can be.
Les maladies sont fréquentes.
Diseases are more and more frequent. Because of climate change and the excessive heat, the trees often die.
From the cocoa farm, the cocoa beans are sold to traders who export them. Most of these go to Europe, where they are made into liquid cocoa, cocoa butter, and cocoa powder mixed with milk or soy and made into chocolate. Cocoa is big business. In the UK alone, the chocolate industry is worth £4 billion a year. But cocoa farmers are at the very end of the supply chain and see very little of cocoa's value. They have little control over how much they sell their cocoa for, with prices set far away. A typical cocoa farmer in Côte d'Ivoire lives on less than $1 a day. That's around 80p. Not enough to provide for the basics for a family. To make matters worse, in the past few years, the price of cocoa has plummeted, pushing many cocoa farmers further into poverty.
Les prix sont catastrophiques.
The cocoa prices are disastrous. When a farmer gets up in the morning, he's always worried. How will he be able to feed and care for his family? How can he send his children to school?
Fair trade has helped. For fair trade cocoa farmers like Ebrotier, when the price of cocoa drops, it can't drop below the fair trade minimum price, which acts as a safety net.
Et que même si l'État,
When the market price falls, we automatically use the fair trade minimum price. This allows the producer to keep farming and even to improve the production.
On top of this, for every ton of cocoa sold on fair trade terms, the farmer organisation, the cooperative, receives an additional sum, the fair trade premium, to invest in their business and their community as they see fit. This might mean investing money in a school, health centre, or clean drinking water. This is Rosine. She is a farmer at a fair trade certified cocoa cooperative called Kayat.
I've seen that fair trade has helped us a lot in cocoa farming. The fair trade premium has enabled us to do many things. It has enabled us to advance our children's education, and also we use the fair trade premium to build for the future.
Using fair trade premium, Kayat have built nursery schools and rebuilt damaged school buildings so that young children can attend school safely and their mothers can go to work. They have installed a water pump for access to clean water and have invested in large warehouses and a number of trucks so that they can store and transport their cocoa beans efficiently. Working together in a cooperative also means farmers can share knowledge and access training.
Certification avec les formations de la bonne pratique agricole.
Since getting fair trade certification and training in good agricultural practices, I can see that it has greatly increased my production. In 2017, I had 1 tonne, and in 2018, I had 1.5 tonnes. So I can see that the training from fair trade enabled me to increase the income from my farm.
Rosine is also the secretary of the Women's Society at Kayat. Women in West Africa often have less access than men to land and credit, and are often underrepresented in farmers' organisations, public meetings, and leadership roles in communities.
Pour avoir aussi plus de femmes.
At the moment, there are lots of women who don't realise that they have a voice, don't feel empowered or know that they can be at the forefront of something. There are lots of women who have not understood this yet.
Years of studies have shown that when women have access to their own independent income, the rate of development for the whole community increases. Anne-Marie works to empower cocoa farmers across West Africa.
The women wake up early in the morning before the whole family, before everybody. Around 4:30, they are awake. Then cook food for the whole family, send children to school, take their machetes and their staff to the farm, go and work hard on the farm, come in the house, cook the dinner for the whole family, and they sleep. They are the last person to go on bed. Wake up early in the morning before everybody and sleep after everybody. This is the reason why they deserve also more attention, because they know more than the rest.
At Kayat, Rosine works with 400 other women in the Women's Society, and they have invested fair trade premium in diversification projects, such as growing other crops so that they can earn an independent income that doesn't rely on fluctuating cocoa prices.
Mais en fonction de faire la diversification, avoir le manure.
Diversification is important. Having manioc, bananas and chilies in the field brings us a lot of revenue. This benefits the children because outside of the cocoa harvesting season, when the income isn't there, it's the women who, having sold, contribute to the family income to pay for school fees.
The benefits of fair trade are evident, from training support to the minimum price to the fair trade premium. Thanks to consumers choosing fair trade chocolate, many cocoa farmers have been able to make a real difference in their communities. But the sad truth is that certification alone is not enough to transform a global industry on this scale. Not all fair trade certified farmers are able to sell all of their crop on fair trade terms. When companies agree to pay on fair trade terms, they are already taking an important step towards solving the problem of living income. But communities in West Africa need to sell much more of their cocoa at higher prices for things to change properly. We can help to change this by choosing fair trade and showing retailers that farmers deserve a fairer deal. But we need to go even further. We need to build on the achievements of fair trade certification and encourage others to do more to change the cocoa industry. Farmers deserve the basic human right of a living income, enough to cover a decent standard of living.
For me, the living income is this amount that will help the producer to be able to take care of his family and reinvest in the farm for a future.
In Côte d'Ivoire, a living income that will cover food, health, education, a decent home, and safe water is estimated to be $2.50 a day for each person in the household. Just under £2. This would be the price of a large bar of chocolate. And yet most farmers get far less than this.
C'est ça aujourd'hui la réalité. Mais si ça continue comme ça,
If the situation does not change, I think people will stop cocoa farming because the incomes are too low. People are going to grow other crops, such as palm oil. I do not want to be mean or alarmist, but we have to acknowledge that young people do not want to be cocoa farmers anymore because it is not profitable.
Fairtrade is working towards a living income for farmers.
Over the next few years, Fairtrade are going to be working really hard with chocolate brands, with retailers and with government. And we're aiming to seek consensus that a living income for cocoa farmers and their families is what everybody wants to achieve. But this is going to be hard, and we're only going to be able to do it if the people who love to eat chocolate in the UK join in as well.
There are traders, chocolate manufacturers and retailers in the chain who all take a share of the price paid for a finished product. Most recognise that farmers' incomes are too low for cocoa to be sustainable the way the industry currently works, and are keen to address this.
There's been lots of initiatives in the past to try and raise productivity. If we want to move to a truly sustainable cocoa sector, then we have to be putting and measuring household income of cocoa farmers at the heart of projects. That's exactly what Fairtrade are doing, and it's what everybody else should be doing.
When you choose Fairtrade, you are showing retailers that you want the farmers at the other end of the supply chain to get a living income. We will be working hard to transform the chocolate industry to make this happen. Together, let's make living incomes a reality for cocoa farmers.
If you do end up going into a supermarket, have a look to see if you can see those labels on any products. Tea, coffee, sugar, bananas. Sometimes they can be a little bit more expensive, but it's important to remember that when we do buy those products, we're making the world a fairer place. Christians believe that the world and everything in it belong to God. He cares for everyone and wants everyone to have enough to eat and to live. Buying fair trade helps the world to be a fairer place, just how God wants it to be.
Okay, we're going to use this time for reflection now. I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to think inside your own heads. If it helps you to reflect, you can look at the candle flame or you can put your hands and your eyes together. What have you had to eat over the last 24 hours? Did you just reach into the fridge or buy it from the shop without any problem? Was it served to you on a dinner table, tasty and hot? Imagine for a moment that there had only been a very small amount of rice to eat and only a little water to drink that you had to boil before it was clean to drink. That's what life is like for some people in the world. Think about ways in which you can make a difference to their lives by supporting fair trade.
Well, that concludes our collective worship for today. Remember, work hard, be kind, look after yourselves, and we'll see you around school.